Good morning, my friends. I'm going to try and explain this as best I can. I was reminded of this issue that happens with a lot of folks with ADHD, adult and children, when I was with my son at an appointment yesterday. He's working with an agency that's going to help him shadow jobs and plan for college and that kind of thing. And they were going through the different majors or course tracks that were available. And he kept saying, "No, I'm not interested. No, that doesn't appeal to me." But I knew that these were things he probably didn't understand. So I chimed in and I asked him, "Do you know what that is?" And he says, "Well, no, not really." So, "Well, are you curious?" "Yeah, well, go ahead and ask." And that reminded me of some real big deficits, not only in terms of skill sets, but in terms of mindsets. In the case of kids with ADHD, and I hear this a lot, my kid's just so unmotivated. They never want to do anything. I suggest they go outside and play with their friends. I tell them to go ride their bike. I even, offer to take them to a movie or to an amusement park, whatever. And they say, "No, thanks, not interested." And the problem here is not motivation, okay? It seems on the surface like your child just not motivated to get up off the couch and do things. But especially when it's something outside the house where it's a new experience, this is what's really going on under the hood, okay? What's really happening is you have a child who is afraid that by going out of the house and exposing themselves, they could be overwhelmed, they could look stupid, they might be bored, and it's those things your child is afraid of. So when they're saying, "No, not interested, I don't feel like it," what they're saying is, the unpredictability in the offer you've just made is too daunting for me, and I'd rather just not deal with it. But if the child doesn't have, or adult, doesn't have the self-awareness, they just know that maybe their stomach gets tight, their heart beats a little faster, they start to feel nervous, but they don't know why. They just know something about your offer is off-putting. So it's easier to just say, "No, not interested, I don't feel like it." So how do you get around that? Pretty simple. Just a matter of the questions you ask. So you make an offer to your child. They use one of those predefined comments to get rid of the offer. Then you can follow up and say, "Is there anything about doing this that concerns you or has you nervous?" And maybe the child will poo-poo it. No, nothing. I'm fine. I just don't feel like it." And statistically, that's an acceptable reason some of the time. Sometimes they know what they're in for, and they just say, "Yeah, that's boring. I don't want to do it." But if, as far as you know, they really don't have any context, they really don't have any sense of what it is, then probe a little bit more. "Is there anything that concerns you about this?" "Well, what are we going to do?" Okay, that's a big question. It's an important question, because what are we going to do also involves, what is your responsibility here? What can you look forward to? Because one thing that's really anxiety producing for our kiddos is when they don't know what their contribution is to the situation. Because if they don't know what they're supposed to do, what ends up happening? They end up moving to the periphery and watching from the outside as an observer. In other words, they get out of the way. They see everybody else with a role. They don't know what their role is, so they've just become an outsider. They're alone. They feel isolated. You follow me? So you make an offer to a child and they don't know what they're supposed to do in order to fit in, in order to belong. They want nothing to do with that. Too risky. So if your offer has a lot of unknowns, they don't know what their role is supposed to be. Maybe they want to know who is going to be there. Are there certain personalities that are too intense for them? Maybe they want to avoid that person. Maybe they want to think ahead so they can strategically be someplace that person is not, so they can avoid that hug or kiss or loud voice or whatever it is. Bottom line is, when your child says not interested, that doesn't appeal to me. Sometimes it means that. But when kids with ADHD or Asperger's, there tends to be that standoffishness when it comes to new or uncertain experiences. They don't necessarily have the same sense of adventure or discovery that typical kids do. They have a predisposition towards safety and avoiding danger. So new equals unsafe in their mind. Unpredictable is unsafe. So the more details you can fill in, the less risk there is in taking this new action or trying this new experience. Because I'm sure you found in your own life that your child may be resistant at first, but once they're there, they're fine. So what happened? Well, you replaced uncertainty with a degree of exposure. In other words, they're not afraid of the water anymore because they finally dip their toes in and realize it's not that bad. But instead of dealing with the fight, the resistance, just see how many of those questions you can answer up front, and it can be a smooth transition. So try that out. Get back to me. Let me know how it went. Share this with anyone and everyone you know that can benefit from it. And don't forget to check out my website, because I know that I keep forgetting to mention that. But the one that I think is best for you is to go to adhd.consulting. That's the website. No .com, nothing else. adhd.consulting. And see what else is there. And until next time, this has been Brian. Thanks for being you.